Today we're going to take a look at two new devices from Aqara. First is the new G410 video doorbell. Then we'll take a look at one of the cameras I've been waiting for. It's the new G100 indoor-outdoor smart camera. Both offer local storage, 2K resolution. They work with Apple HomeKit secure video, and they have privacy-first AI smart detection. Both devices can replace your cloud-dependent video doorbell or cameras, so no more cloud fees just to see the videos that have been recorded. Instead, keep all that local and in your house. Let's go over the key features of each of these devices and look at some footage from both of them. That way you can decide if these would be a good fit for your smart home. This video is sponsored by Aqara. They did send these over for me to check out. If you'd like to pick up one of these cameras or learn more about them, I'll put links down in the description. If you're not familiar with Aqara, they have a whole ecosystem of smart devices that work with all the smart assistants, including Apple Home. They were one of the first companies that actually prioritized Apple Home instead of just Google and Alexa. I've been using them before they ever sponsored a video on this channel, and the reason why is their devices worked with Apple Home and they were reliable. I did a count before this video and I currently have 28 of their devices in my house, and these are active devices, not stuff that I'm testing. I have various sensors, 2 of their smart locks, 3 of their cameras inside, 3 outside counting the video doorbell, and I'm using their latest lights because they actually work out pretty well. First, let's dive into the G410 video doorbell. It is a 2K resolution camera with a resolution of 2048 by 1536. It has a 175 degree wide angle camera and an f1.8 aperture, so it allows more light in and does better in low light. The G410 has a 4:3 aspect ratio compared to the G4, which had a 16:9. So that 4:3 gives you more up and down room to see what's happening at your doorbell. The camera does have infrared night vision, which I found with an outdoor light and where my wife parks her car, it kind of washes out things for me, so I turn that off and don't use it. It is nice. You have 2 ways that you can power the doorbell. So if you're not able to hardwire it, you could take advantage of the 6 AA batteries that will last up to 5 months with an average of 10 wake-ups a day. The other option, if you are able to wire it, I definitely recommend this. It is to hardwire it. And that opens up 24/7 recording with the doorbell. In the box, you have the regular mounting plate, or you can add the angle plate on. So if you need a better view, it will just turn it a little bit for you. It also comes with a 95 decibel chime. So when someone rings the doorbell, you'll hear it through that chime. This is what the chime sounds like at 70%. Or if you use it as a siren for a security alarm, you could take advantage of that 95 decibels. The nice thing about the chime is that there's a micro SD card slot on there. And with that micro SD card slot, you could put up to a 512 gigabyte card. Then you could take advantage of 24/7 recording. So it'll continuously record until the card's filled up, and then it'll start recording over the older clips. I like having that option because I want to keep everything local. I don't want videos at my house getting uploaded to the cloud, unless I'm taking advantage of Apple HomeKit secure video, which will upload 1080p clips to my iCloud account and save them for up to 10 days. For 16:9 cameras, Apple will only save 1080p footage. Since this is a 4:3 aspect ratio, HomeKit secure video saves it at a higher resolution of 1600 by 1200. I like it all being within that Apple Home app and going to a cloud service that I'm already using. If I want to see clearer footage, I can always go in to the Aqara app and see the stuff that's recorded in 2K and go back and check that 24/7 recording. Something to note with this doorbell is you definitely want to keep the chime as close as you can to the doorbell. It just helps with connectivity. The chime connects to your network and then the doorbell talks to the chime. If you have an Apple home, you can set it up to use your HomePods as chimes for the doorbell. And if you go in the Home app, you could pick which HomePod you want to use. Like, I don't want these ones going off if someone rings a doorbell. For motion detection, the G410 uses millimeter wave radar, which is a better way to detect people instead of using PIR, which is a passive infrared that detects body heat. So with the millimeter wave, it's definitely more accurate than relying on body heat. Now the G410 is a dual Wi-Fi doorbell, so it can use 2.4 gigahertz or the stronger, faster 5 gigahertz to connect to your router. Now for the AI smart detection features and alerts, those are all done locally on your device. So it, again, doesn't have to go to the cloud to be processed and then back to your house. Now the doorbell goes beyond a lot of other doorbells because it can serve as a thread border router, a Matter controller, and a Zigbee hub, which the Zigbee hub comes in handy if you buy Aqara sensors and their lights. You're able to connect directly to the hub, which Zigbee tends to give you a faster response time. Like some of their bulbs, like the one behind me, I can connect it with Thread, but I found connecting it using Zigbee to a Zigbee hub is just quicker and more reliable. Some of the other features include privacy masking, so you can black out areas so they never show up on the camera. I use this on my G5 Pro to black out my license plate so I can share footage anytime and never reveal that. There's also a voice changer, so if you do answer the doorbell, you can choose the anonymous voice, the robot voice, or clown voice. Clown voice, definitely intimidating for strangers. You know, they're gonna run away when that clown pops out. If you're using an Aqara smart lock, you can unlock that right from within the doorbell view. I've been using the U100 for like 2 years now, which it's worked out great. You can check out the video on that. I'll have to put that down below. Let's take a look at some of the footage from the G410. If you want to get that 2K resolution, here it is within the Aqara app.
I'm about 10 feet away. This is how the microphone sounds with it, and image quality, and it's a test.
It's only going to record 6 to 12 seconds clips when presence is detected. But if you have the micro SD card in the Chime, you can have it do that 24/7 recording. So you could look at the clip and then always go back and see a longer time frame.
10 feet away, if I walk up to where I would normally speak to somebody or knock at the door, whatever, this is what it would sound like and look like.
Here's a look at it within the Apple Home app.
Here's a test of the doorbell camera. I'm about 10 feet away. This is how the microphone sounds with it, and image quality, and it's a test. There you go. You have an idea what kind of coverage you get out of it. I was approaching the door, and this is about how far away from the door I would stand.
The thing that's nice about using Apple Home is it can do continuous recording. And if you have it wired up, it's buffering too. So if motion's detected, it can actually show you a little bit of action before the motion was detected versus battery powered cameras or doorbells that need to kind of power up or pay attention once motion is detected. I would say the benefits between the two is if you go in Apple Home, you have that seamless integration across all Apple devices that have that same Apple Home app on it. Plus you can do that longer recordings on there. But if you want the higher resolution and some of the automation features, you're going to want to go into the Aqara app. Personally, I try to stay away from the Aqara app and any manufacturer's app. I love everything working within Apple Home because I can open up the Home app on my laptop, my iPad, my phone. I could even open it up on my Apple Watch. There's also the anti-theft option. So if you have that turned on, if anybody steals the doorbell, they can't bind it to any other device or Aqara account. Both the G4 and the G410 have the same IPX3 rating, which Aqara says is best for sheltered installs. You don't want this just sitting out in the middle of the rain. It's you want to have some kind of covering on it. And if a little moisture gets on it, that's fine. It just can't be soaked. Now let's talk about the G100 indoor-outdoor camera. This is the camera I've been waiting for. I like the Aqara G5 Pro camera, but it has a bunch of other features I don't need on it. The G5 Pro camera has worked great since I got it. I would love to put them all over the place, but the biggest problems with them is that it does have the border router, the hub and controller, all the things I don't need and don't want to pay that extra cost for. It also doesn't have onboard storage. And one of the things I really didn't like when I first saw it is that it needs to be powered up. The G100 indoor and outdoor camera solves most of those problems, except needing to power it up. It's not battery operated, which battery operated is convenient, but after having the G5 Pro, it is nice to have a camera that can buffer all the time, and when it does detect motion, it can back up and see what happened prior and not catch the UPS person drop on the way away from your front door because it took a moment for it to turn on. It is a pain to have to run power to a camera, but personally, I think it's just worth it, not having to change batteries and just having the extra functionality. I will say, I wish there was a longer USB cable included instead of, reaching the limit of the cable and then having to run power from another cable. Another thing I like about the G100 that the G5 Pro doesn't have, it's a micro SD card slot to be able to do continuous recording. You could put a 512 gigabyte card in there, do 24/7 recording, which I think is great. To always have that option to back up and review things that happen. Maybe for some reason motion didn't trigger the camera. It's still there recording, so you could always view any part of the day. The new G100 is a 2K resolution with a 3 megapixel sensor. It has a 170 degree field of view, which is pretty wide. It is IPX65 rated, so it definitely can be in the elements more so than the Doorbell. This has a dual mode night vision. One mode would be your traditional infrared night vision that is in black and white. The other option is the color spotlight mode, which is going to turn on the spotlight so the camera is in full color mode and can see things. The nice thing about that is that spotlight can serve as a deterrent. Like the video doorbell, you could take advantage of RTSP, you can save to a NAS, or use Apple HomeKit Secure Video. Using Apple HomeKit Secure Video and not recording anything in the Aqara app is the only reason that I will use cameras inside, because I have some control over it. When you use Apple Home, you can pick the modes. So if my wife or I are in the house, it'll change the camera over to streaming only and nothing's recorded. But once we're both out of the house, it'll change it over to streaming and recording. Now for the cameras outside, I want it to record all the time, whether we're home or not. For indoor cameras, I don't want my life being recorded, and I sure don't want those recordings to go to the cloud. Some of the other features include local AI people and motion detection. If you wanted to detect pets, people, packages, and all that, you do have to sign up for Aqara's Home Guard subscription. That also opens up the ability to have the camera work with some of their sensors. For me, I'm not going that route because I'm using it with Apple Home, and I can have it do those different ways of detecting and have it trigger automations and stuff right from there. Like the video doorbell and the G5 Pro camera, there is the privacy masking. So you can black out areas you don't want the camera to see. You also, if you turn on the microphone to speak to someone, you could do the voice changing options right there. So you can go to anonymous robot voice, or again, clown voice, because nothing scares a stranger like a clown. There's also the anti-theft option, so if for some reason someone stole your camera, like they're trying to be sneaky and just take the camera, they won't be able to bind it to any other Aqara account or use it in any way. Now, clips, when motion or people's detected, are limited to 6 to 12 second clips. You can take advantage of the micro SD card on board and have 24/7 recording. Now let's take a look at some of the sample footage, starting first with the Aqara app.
This is a motion event. We got a plane behind us now, but this is what it sounds like from about 10 feet away. I'll have to come out and try it again without the plane noise then. But this is the image quality and what it sounds like going into both apps.
Here's some footage using Apple Home and HomeKit Secure Video.
Here's a test of the camera. I'm about 8 to 10 feet away from it. This is what it sounds like. The sun is going down.
A big advantage going that route is that clips will record for however long motion is detected. The downside, though, is it's limited to 1080p. Since I use Apple TVs, I can have it set up so that if motion is detected, a little pop-up happens on the screen. And since it's hardwired, one of the things that's nice about that is if you open up a camera on an Apple TV, it'll stay on indefinitely. After using both the doorbell and the camera for a while now, I would say some of the biggest benefits and pros to this device is that it works with all the smart assistants. At this point in time, every camera should work with Apple Home and HomeKit Secure Video. I think HomeKit Secure Video is great. I like that it'll record things indefinitely. You're not limited like when recording onto the SD card or clips. Another benefit is it's part of the Aqara ecosystem, so it works with all the other Aqara devices I have, like the lock, all the different sensors, lights, and the cameras inside. Another benefit to me is being able to keep everything local and not having to rely on videos being kept in the cloud or paying the cost to keep videos in the cloud. Now for the negatives, and this applies to pretty much every smart camera and video doorbell, it is not seeing the clarity that I would want to see. Meaning that even though it's a 2K sensor, these cameras are small. So those sensors inside are small, the lensing and all that together just doesn't equal as clear of an image as I would like to see. Another thing I'm not a fan of is that with both the doorbell and the camera, I've realized when editing this video that the clips are saved at 20 frames per second. When you watch something on TV, it's typically at 30 frames per second. So you're getting a third less of the frames. And when you have less frames, you have less clarity there, and the image isn't as smooth. That's why if you see something at 60 frames per second or 120 frames per second, it looks so real. Overall, I'm glad to have more options from Aqara for outside the house, like the G5 Pro. That's a great camera. I'll put that video at the end of this one. If you'd like to pick up the G410 doorbell or the G100 camera, check out the links in the description. Now, if you made it this far, please consider subscribing. Check out the next video. If you can, give this one a like. It definitely helps the channel out. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.